Welcome to Fireside Nets, your place for Nets news, information, reactions, breakdowns, discussions about the trade deadline, and so much more. I'm Spen. He's Pete. Pete, how are you doing on this Monday night?
I would have been a lot better if we just didn't just throw away the game in the second half. But, shit
See, you look
happens.
at it
I'm
as
tired.
throwing away. You look at it as throwing away. I look at it like we didn't even show up. We showed up for the first half. We said, let's give effort. The second half, we didn't show up. Any thoughts on those? We're going to get into it in a second. This is episode 185 of Fireside Nets. I'm pretty juiced up in a bad way. That was as abysmal a loss at home on the front end of a back-to-back as you can have. I don't care that Ben Simmons did not play today. I don't care that Lonnie Walker got hurt. We'll get into it. Just a really, really atrocious loss if you're the Brooklyn Nets at home against a Warriors team that a lot of their players should be in the G League. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Podziemski's a rookie. If he were on the Nets, he would not be playing as much as he does in the Warriors. He'd probably be in the G League. This guy, Santos, did you know about him, Pete? Did you know about G. Santos before tonight?
I did not. That is someone I did not know about. Go ahead and educate me, sir.
Listen, I don't know about him either, but I know he had nine points in 18 minutes. He was a plus 13. He had 6 rebounds. The Warriors as a team had 60 rebounds. The Nets had 38. The final score was 109-98. Warriors. Nets fall to 20 and 29. Pete, like why? Like why? I started out this Monday positively at work with my wife, with my family. It was a good Monday up until that second half. So explain to me, because you're a basketball guy. You love the sport. You are. I think you are. Would you call yourself a basketball guy?
I guess you would say so.
What happened in this game? Why did we suck so badly in the second half? Just talk to me a little bit.
I'm going to completely disagree with you. They did show up. I guess I have to agree they showed up for one half with a 6-point lead going to halftime. I just don't know what happened in the second half. We shot 27% in the third quarter. It was a 32-22 third quarter for Golden State. No one scored over 20 for us. And Cam Thomas had one of those really bad games when he says, one day I could, make all my shots. Well, this was one of the days where he pretty much missed all of his shots. And that's it.
Yeah. And he wasn't the only one who struggled tonight, right? So Cam was cold. I mean, 4 of 21 from the field,
Freezing.
0 of 6 from 3. Just couldn't get anything going. And then on top of that, he was in foul trouble. We came into tonight, Pete, and obviously we all know who Steph Curry is, right? Everyone in the fucking world knows who Steph Curry is. He's probably the best point guard in the last 20, 25 years. Most would say. Cam Thomas has really burst onto the NBA scene these last few weeks. I mean, Nets fans obviously know what he's capable of on a nightly basis, but you look at this matchup, you think Warriors team not as good this year, Nets team struggling, but picking it up as of late. This could be a duel between Cam Thomas and Steph Curry. Absolutely was not the case. Thomas got 10 of his 18 points at the line. Just not a good night for him. And then on top of that, Pete, if he's going to suck, if Cam Thomas is going to be cold offensively, you can live with that if you're Brooklyn. But you can't live with that if Mikal Bridges is also going to be an ice bucket. He was 5 of 15 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3. I think that snapped his 12-game streak of 2 or more threes made. So that you hated to see that. And I think, Pete, the thing that pissed me off the most was this was a close game in the fourth quarter. Cam Thomas stayed aggressive, and he missed. Whenever he took a shot, he missed, but he was still aggressive. I did not see Mikal Bridges touch this motherfucking basketball down the stretch in this game. Why?
I have no idea. That's part of his game. Sometimes he just disappears, right? What did he shoot today? 5 of 15, 1 of 7 from 3. It's just ridiculous how he could put up such a great game, put up maybe 40 points against one team, and then you have a fourth quarter that reminds you that he is a number 2, right?
He is a number 2, but he's also one of the more clutch players in the league. And you know the old saying, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I don't even care if he misses shots. Take those shots, right? Like in the fourth quarter, you're supposed to be one of the two guys. And credit to Royce O'Neal. Royce O'Neal had 4 threes in that fourth quarter. He finished with 15 points. He was our only source of offense down the stretch in this ball game. So I was grossed out by obviously what Cam and Mikal did tonight. Nick Claxton, 15 points, only 5 rebounds for Clax. His night basically, and it was a microcosm how he got ejected. Brandon Pozinski beat Nick Claxton to a loose ball, a rebound, which is something I should never say. I should never say Pozinski is getting a rebound over Nick Claxton, but that's what happened. Claxton did not box out. Pozinski was in the right position. Claxton reacted, kind of lost it for a second and tossed Pozinski to the ground. He gets the flagrant 2. He gets ejected. In a game where, Draymond Green and Kayvon Looney were the only 2 big men that played for the Warriors, I need to see Claxton do more. I need to see him be more involved on the glass. I don't know. And it was just gross how he got kicked out.
7 blocks. Yeah. I got 7 blocks. Okay, maybe he didn't get 3. How many more rebounds did you want? Should he have gotten more rebounds? Yes. Was he ejected a little bit early? Yes. I agree with what you're saying. We'd like to see more rebounds. In reality, the guy got 7 fucking blocks. He eliminated 7 shots. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, you're right. You're reminding me about the blocks, Pete, and this is why I love you, because I think about that last play, but there was a whole 3.5 quarters he played before then. Absolutely, those blocks. At one point when the Nets couldn't get offense going in the third quarter, Claxton's blocks kept us in this game. So I will give him credit on the defensive end. You are right there, sir. Good point. But we needed him down the stretch, and he lost it for a second. He gets ejected. We lose our big man. On a night where the Warriors shot 18%, Pete, from 3-point land. We lost by 11 points.
Yeah, that's bad. I cannot defend any of that whatsoever.
Prayers up to Lonnie Walker. Lonnie's hamstring tightened. Jay from BK, former guest of the pod, he had tweeted he heard Lonnie Walker. I guess he's at the game, or he was at the game tonight. He heard Lonnie Walker going to the locker room, cursing up a storm. It's one thing with Cam and Mikal being cold, but Lonnie's our third source of offense. So you lose him. Once I read that, Pete, I had a tough time thinking we were going to win tonight.
Oh, absolutely. If you're going to make a comeback, right, that's the guy that you're probably going to need. Because this team doesn't score, you're going to need Bridges, you're going to need Thomas, and you're going to need Walker to probably have some type of performance, right? And with Walker gone, it sucks. We've seen how the team struggles, and we've also seen how much better they can play when Walker and Ben Simmons are when Walker and Ben Simmons are playing. So it sucks, man. We just can't get a complete team here.
It does suck. It fucking blows. Before we stop talking about this game, we get into the trade deadline, and there were some very interesting sound bites we're going to discuss that Mike Scotto gave us with Megan Triplett before the game. Cam Johnson and Spencer Dinwiddie. I want to talk about these two for a second. Cam Johnson. It's so weird. He never gives you a full game. He gives you a quarter here and there where he hits some shots. He finished with 13 points. I feel like in 8 rebounds. I feel like he had 10 points in the first half. Something weird about just his game being so inconsistent. It bothers me. And then, yeah, let's start there. Any thoughts on Cam Johnson's game tonight and just his recent play as of late?
You kind of nailed it like right on the head, right? Like he shows up for a couple quarters, maybe hits a couple clutch threes, and then all of a sudden he just disappears. The only thing I could kind of say to all this is everyone's going to knock the contract, right? Especially after a game like today. But they're paying him to be someone that's going to be better in the future, right? They're paying him who he's going to be and not who he is now. And this is the growing pains. And hopefully you get to that playoff series, CJ, that we saw last year, right? These are the growing pains.
That's what we all want to see as Nets fans. That CJ. I do give CJ credit. He convinced Jacques Vaughn to challenge 2 plays, I think both in the second quarter.
Twice. Yes.
And Vaughn won both challenges, which was awesome. He just
By the way,
didn't
no,
have
I got to
any.
say something about this.
Yeah.
I thought that was really big that Jacques Vaughn did that because he's kind of been a little lackadaisical, right? He's kind of been shitting on the players in these press conferences after games. So for him to have a player say, do it, and he actually does it, I think that will buy him a little bit of grace in the locker room. Do you think so? Or am I just harping on that a little bit? I thought about that.
No, I think that, and they had what's up?
He needs it. He needs all the grace he could get.
They had Cam Johnson's the video caught what he was saying, and he's like, "I promise you, it was all ball." I think it depends on the player. I think Vaughn, if there's 2 guys on this team that Vaughn really trusts, I think it's McHale and Cam Johnson. I think after those guys, I don't know if Cam Thomas or Dennis Smith Jr. go challenge that. I don't know if he's challenging that. You know what I mean?
I think you're right.
Okay. I did Spencer Dinwiddie. That's your guy. I just thought that overall Dinwiddie looked like he didn't want to be there tonight. And he's obviously had games like this where it looks like he doesn't want to be here. But tonight it was evident to me. There was a backdoor cut that Clay made, I think in the second half, and Dinwiddie just watched him walk by. So talk to me about, what you're seeing from Dinwiddie and is there any chance that Dinwiddie is still on this Nets roster post deadline?
I would say there's about a 0% chance that he's in after Thursday. I'd be pretty shocked. The day was 3-12-26. And I spoke a couple days ago. I don't know if you saw this. Very interesting that playing against the team that might be interesting and that might be interested in him at the deadline. And he seems to play a lot better in both games. Just very funny, very oddly. Especially in the last month, we've been seeing that. I don't think that's coincidence, to be honest. Especially when you go back to the LA games, they very well. There's going to be no chance he's going to get that. They want to get him off the books. He's done with Brooklyn. It's a personal thing. Everybody knows by now. He offered a 1-year deal, a 2-year deal to come back to Brooklyn. And it was no money. Look at disrespected. And he was disrespected by it. And man, it's just sad to see kind of flail out and burn out this way. But he does have one more game tomorrow. And I'm interested to see if he plays well against Kyrie and Alex.
Pete, we are having some technical difficulties. I am not 100% sure if your mic is off or my sound is off. I don't think it's my sound. Do you mind trying another mic? Because you're coming in extremely muffled. That's much better.
There we go.
Awesome.
So
yeah. Thanks, guys.
Did you hear anything that I just said? I'll sum it up very quickly. He seems to be playing against better teams that might be interested in him at the deadline. Look at those LA games. He played very well. And it's personal at this point. Marks offered him a shit deal, a shit extension. He didn't like it. He has a family. This is probably his last contract, right? He's not going to get a bigger deal than this one coming up if he's going to get one. And he wanted something fair. He feels disrespected, and that's it. It's kind of like a little mutiny. And if there's any chance that he stays in net, it's going to be because they're going to do a sign and trade at the end of the year, which I don't believe happens.
No, I think this. You're good. You're good. I think this relationship is beyond salvageable. It hurts the team at this point. The fact that he was shooting shots in that fourth quarter and just bricking them while Mikal Bridges wasn't touching the ball, that was a travesty to every single person that watched that game and every single person that paid for a ticket. I do want to quickly talk about Jacques Vaughn and what you thought about his performance, but let's go to our comments really quick. We have a few comments we want to read. Shout out to Peoples Hernandez. Come on down. He wrote, trade everybody. Fuck this team. Clax is hot trash. I'm fucking done with this
This
team.
guy's
So
hilarious.
thank you for sharing your thoughts. We get it. We get the frustration. Brian Harchemek wrote some political stuff about MAGA and Biden and Trump, and that's fun because that's great for political podcasts. We're a basketball podcast. We don't talk much politics. Here we go. And then NY Nets. Shout out to Golden State. We got outplayed. Steph is a legend, a legend. It's an honor to watch the core Golden State still strong. Good game. I said this to you before the show, Pete. Tonight, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Jonathan Kuminga, and a bunch of G Leaguers and young guys, and Kayvon Looney. I don't want to disrespect him. But in reality, this Warriors team is not what it once was. They're not going to be a contender down the stretch unless they make a trade and shake up a ton. But this was absolutely a winnable game tonight if you're the Brooklyn Nets. No way around it.
Man, I just disagree with you with this. They play in the hard West. I was not going to win the game today, but I am disappointed with the second half. I think they're only like 4 games out of a playoff spot. They're not that trash, but yes, they're not as good as the dynasty days. So I digress.
Final word. Did you have a problem with Vaughn's rotations not going Watford tonight?
Absolutely. We already shorthanded. Lonnie got hurt. Ben wasn't playing. It would have been nice to have a little bit, a little fresher legs in there, right? Just a little bit. I don't understand why you can't get him 5 minutes here or there. It's very confusing why this guy is on the team because it feels like it's a waste. He's not a bad player. He should be playing. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
I would have loved to see him get more minutes, especially instead of Dinwiddie down the stretch. What do you have to lose? Play Watford. You're going to get in a game like today where you could have used the fresh legs, you could have used the energy. You know that Watford's going to give that to you. So why not give him a shot? It's not like he's going to be any worse from a contribution standpoint than Dinwiddie was tonight. And then also, I would have liked to see Harry Giles a little bit. I don't know why we signed him, Pete. Dayron going down with the injury, it should be next man up mentality. You see it happening in Philadelphia. They have Mo Bamba playing. They have Paul Reed playing heavy minutes. And then there's one other guy on Philly. I think another veteran. I'm not going to get right now. But I don't like Royce as our 5. I don't like that small ball lineup. It's never going to work. We're not quick enough. We're not athletic enough. That's not as good of a 3-point shooting lineup as we think it is. Play Giles, give him some run. Again, Giles and Watford should have played, but that's what I have to say about that.
Especially it's the front half of a back-to-back, right? What's the thought process here? I just don't get it. Get it.
I'm going to assume Lonnie doesn't play tomorrow. You think that's fair?
Oh, absolutely. He's not going to play at all.
So
you're 100% right.
The only difference is you get Ben Simmons back tomorrow, which is great, but you still only played 8 guys today with Lonnie? Dennis Smith Jr., Royce, and one more guy. Who am I missing? Lonnie Walker were the only 3 guys off the bench tonight.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see Vaughn go a little bit deeper. I'm sure he will. We're going to probably see some of the G League guys get called up tomorrow. Pete, I want to get into, because it's happening in a few days, the trade deadline.
Whoa.
Big whoa, right?
Very exciting.
So before the game, Yes had Michael Scotto on for a quick, or Mike Scotto. I don't even know if his real name is Michael. And he said a few things that I think Nets fans have known for a minute, but no one had really come out. A lot of this was reported by Shams, reported by Woj. So he had some sound bites that I want to read you, and we're going to talk about them. All right. So here was one. And by the way, shout out to Cody Mallory, because he had a lot of these quotes on Twitter. The Brooklyn Nets want to keep Nick Claxton, and they're going to pay him this summer. So number 1, Nick Claxton staying, Nets going to pay him. Number 2, DeJounte Murray has been in talks with the Brooklyn Nets. Spencer Dinwiddie would be the one to go. Atlanta wants expiring contracts. If the Nets can do it for a protected pick, I think they would, meaning the Nets. But obviously the rumor is that Atlanta wants at least 2 first-round picks for Murray. So that's the update there. and I'll read one more, and then I'll stop, and we'll break down those three. The third one is big picture. Royce O'Neal and Donovan Mitchell are excellent friends, meaning even if the Nets don't get Mitchell before the deadline, there is a chance they might try to persuade him to come to Brooklyn, play with his buddy Mikal, and apparently his good friend Royce O'Neal. So that would be a reason why the Nets wouldn't trade Royce. And that sort of ties into also what the rumors are with the asking price for Royce O'Neal is that it's a bunch of second-round picks. So, Pete, sort of three things there. We have the Nick Claxton thing. We have the DeJounte Murray, Spencer Dinwiddie thing. And then we have the Donovan Mitchell thing. Which one do you want to talk about first?
I'll talk about the Donovan Mitchell thing. So you're telling me if we have a shit team but have Royce O'Neal on the team, he's going to want to come. I understand he wants to come back to New York. I get that, guys. I get that. But let's face it, it's not going to happen this deadline, maybe over the summer. And even then, like, why wouldn't you want to go to the Knicks? I'm sure the Knicks would find a way to figure out him and Brunson. If Bridges is like your best guy right now to kind of recruit, I know he's a nice guy. I know he's a good player. And is it a good fit? Probably it would be. But imagine the defense with Donovan Mitchell and Cam Thomas. I feel like we'd get run over. But basically, you're talking about Royce, right? And their friendship. I think that's such bullshit. Unless they're like best friends of all time type shit, the player is going to go where he wants to go based on where he wants to live, the contract, and probably he wants to win. So if this team is not good, why is he going to come here?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what you just said if I wanted to. You can wait for Donovan Mitchell as long as you want, but if you stink the rest of the season and the Knicks, get to the third round, they get to maybe the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they lose to the Celtics, and you're Donovan Mitchell, and you see you might be the missing piece to get a championship in New York, you are 100% going to choose that 1,000 times over 1,000, despite your friendships with Mikal Bridges and Royce O'Neal in shitty Brooklyn.
Facts.
It's that simple. That simple. So I agree with you on that. DeJounte Murray in Atlanta, potentially coming to Brooklyn. So obviously, if the Hawks want to do Dinwiddie and a first-round pick for Murray, you do that yesterday if you're Brooklyn. But Atlanta wants 2 first-round picks. So, Pete, do you pull the trigger if you're Brooklyn and give Atlanta 2 first-round picks for DeJounte Murray?
Absolutely. Now, are they going to be the Phoenix picks? No. This is what you'd probably want to do. I've said this maybe 100 times. I'll be very quick with it. You send Dorian Finney-Smith maybe to an OKC. Maybe you get, let's say, a first rounder and a second rounder. I think most outlets are saying you can get 2 first rounders, but I'm going to keep it cheap, okay? 1 first rounder, 1 second rounder. Take that in. We'll give it to Atlanta. We'll throw in maybe our Philly pick that's coming up in a couple years. Put in Dinwiddie. Boom, done. But I just feel like, man, if it's so simple, why hasn't this been done already? That's my issue.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Look, we know that Mark likes to. It is too easy.
It's too easy. There's something wrong.
Marks likes to play it close to the chest. He likes to be the one in control. But from everything that we've been told, like Royce isn't getting the looks that fans thought he would get. Dorian Finney-Smith, I think the Nets don't want to move him for less than a really highly touted pick, and that's a first rounder, and that's not what teams around the league are looking at. I do have the DFS quote here. I wanted to pull that up as well. The Nets don't want a late first-round pick if they are going to even think about parting ways with Dorian Finney-Smith. They also don't want to pick in this 2024 draft. So if they get a pick, they want a high lottery pick for for Dorian Finney-Smith, and they're not seeing that right now. So to answer your question, like, it's so easy. Why doesn't Mark just pull the trigger? I think he's waiting. I think he's waiting to see if he can get a better deal. I think he's going to wait up until the day or two before the deadline before he does anything. And if he doesn't do anything, then something needs to happen in that front office, because this Nets team is currently constructed cannot finish out the year.
Well, let me say this about Dorian Finney-Smith. He had that great game against Kawhi on defense. You don't think all those Western contenders didn't see that? You don't think that they say, man, if we're in a playoff series against Kawhi, it would be very, very good to have a guy like a Dorian Finney-Smith playing some defense on this guy. I think there's going to be enough competition that you can get your first two, those 2 first rounders. But when you say something like, oh, the Nets don't want to part with him unless it's for a great pick, that's what you call leverage, my friend. You're not going to go out and just say, yeah, man, I'll take any 2 first rounders. You're going to say, you know what, guys, I'm sorry. There's no deal here. I want this and exactly this. And I'm willing to wait. And that's what it is. It's all leverage. You know this shit. You're smarter than this.
No, I'm not smarter than this.
Yeah, you are.
Could you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's a little muffled, but you good.
Yep, my mic went out, so I'm recording on my headset. This is the episode of technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen, and I apologize.
Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Yeah, shout out to everyone listening. We appreciate you. Pete, final thing that I read, Nets want to keep Claxton, they're going to pay him in the summer. Right move, or is that a mistake?
I think it's a mistake. But, man, this guy's 24 years old. Last year, we were just saying he just got snubbed for Defensive Player of the Year. But you kind of look at the roster. You look at what he might get paid. He might get close to a max deal. People in the chat probably will even say, like, man, you really think so? Like, are you fucking crazy? No. His analytics are great. He's 24. How rare is it to get a 24-year-old, like, Defensive Player of the Year at center just come? It never happens. It just does not happen. There's going to be some people that are interested in him. And the fact of the matter is, if you're not going to re-sign the guy, you have to get whatever you can get right now. And that's it.
And that's it. That's all she wrote in regards to the trade deadline. So I think we covered everything. Do you want to make any predictions? Are there any trades out of left field that might happen?
I think Clax is going to be traded, but man, there's not a lot of places that a guy or a team like needs a center, and I can't see somebody trading for him just to put him in, put him on the bench. So I think the deal involving Clax will be surprising because it's going to be somewhere where you don't expect it.
I get what you're saying. I think maybe Claxton Los Angeles might work with Anthony Davis and LeBron. I think that would be a cool signing, or a cool trade if we can get back, some first from LA. I think Dinwiddie is someone who will absolutely, if he doesn't end up in Atlanta, I think Dinwiddie will end up a Laker. I think he's someone that the Lakers will look at. They'll give us, they'll give us whatever. Maybe,
by the way, they only have one first round left in the trade. Keep that in mind.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So if that's the case, I think they'd want to trade some of the young talent. They probably wouldn't trade the kid they got this year, but there are a few guys on the Lakers roster. I'm thinking Christie. The contracts would have to line up. You'd have to figure it out with Dinwiddie's expiring deal, but I know Dinwiddie's always wanted to play in LA. So if the Lakers wanted to make a move to help out LeBron with Gabe Vincent, trying to get back from injury, Dinwiddie is a guy who would make sense, especially for that second unit. When D'Lo and LeBron are on the bench, I think Dinwiddie would be, good for LA. So we'll see what happens. But I expect Los Angeles to give us some calls. I expect Atlanta to keep us in mind. And don't rule out those teams like a Detroit. Detroit was rumored to be looking at veteran talent. I don't know if Dinwiddie would hate going back to Detroit and maybe being a ball dominant point guard again. I don't know.
I do know one thing. Out of all that I've heard, I don't have quote unquote sources. Sometimes people like to leave stuff in my DMs, and I talk with people. And the one thing that I do know through talking to people, through my common sense, through whatever you want to call it, it's going to be a major deadline for this franchise. There's going to be fireworks, whether you want draft picks or players. You're going to get some fireworks, and it's going to make for a very exciting podcast next episode. I will definitely say that.
Wow, what a tease by Pete. So things are going to happen. It's going to be pandemonium. You better buckle up, strap in. We're not going to tell you anything yet, but it's going to happen. All right, real fast in the comments, we'll give some other people some shout outs here. NY Nets, Claxton had less than 15 touches. We lost the game because of lack of defense in the paint. He's referring to the Warriors' loss. Clax is definitely doing his job on defense, but he still needs to help. Shout out to NY Nets for that. Cliff writes, I think they should trade Lonnie to Celtics for Peyton Pritchard and a second rounder, but that's just me.
I would
Pete,
take
we
a
don't
first.
like that trade.
I would take a
first for Lonnie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but not to Boston.
I don't care. Wherever I get a good pick, I don't care.
Okay. Ian Cart writes, why the fuck is the coach playing Dinwiddie? Couldn't agree with you more. Agree with you more, Ian. And then Jen Will Bolondaris, this is the last comment we're going to read. He writes, Tobias Korkmaz and Marcus Morris, including picks for Mikal Bridges and Claxton, would you do it? I would not do it. No.
Sorry, bro.
Okay. All right. Pete, that just about does it for this week's episode. We're not going to go over any other games because the trade deadline is just too damn important. And the Sixers were playing without Embiid. So even though we spanked their heinies, shout out to Cam Thomas and Mikal Bridges for absolutely playing great in that game. We don't have to talk about that. We don't have to talk about beating the brakes off of Philly because they did not have Embiid.
That's fair. So I just want to let you guys know I'm doing a special trade deadline series on my YouTubes for my podcast, Net Fans You Know. You can check it out on Twitter, Net Fans You Know, YouTube, Net Fans You Know. I've done 2 of 3 episodes already posted. And yeah, since you listened to this, go check it out right now.
And Pete, aren't you going to be at the game tomorrow?
I am. I'm going to be at the game tomorrow. I'm going to be 4 rows behind the Nets bench. So I'm going to be on TV. If you see me in this pretty or ugly face, make sure you take a picture and send it to me. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I actually am going to be 4 rows behind the bench. I'm very interested to see what happens with Kyrie Irving. You think he's going to be a boo bird? You think everyone's going to boo his ass?
Yes.
I agree. I'm going to be booing.
Yeah, no, everyone should boo, especially Kyrie, forever. Yeah, if you see Pete on the TV, take a picture at Nets Fans You Know and at Fireside Nets. Shoot us that at. Real quick, I will be doing some streams for Bleacher Report over the next few weeks. Starting tomorrow at 12 p.m., I'll be talking about the Brooklyn Nets trade deadline on the Bleacher Report app. So tune in 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks to everyone for listening to another edition of Fireside Nets, EP 185. Again, we apologize for the technical difficulties. It happens in this business. We're a lot more sorry for the Nets' terrible performance against the Warriors than we are for the technical difficulties. Let's hope we bounce back against Dallas tomorrow and get that W. As always, Pete, go Nets.
Let's go. We're out.